Hey everybody, I'm TJ Major, spotter of the 6-cup car, the O2, the O2 truck.
You spotted the O2 truck that kept wrecking?
Yeah, I have that effect. that's
Brett Griffin, part-time spotter for Colleague Racing. I come back in 2 weeks.
Truck racing?
No,
What was
no.
Yeah.
I don't know why you idiots even truck race. Like, I can't figure it out.
I do it myself, and I don't know why I'm an idiot. I don't know why I should give myself one idiot every week.
But I watch a truck race, I'm like, why would you volunteer to spot these?
Well, you're not volunteering.
I mean, I'm not volunteering.
Let's
Get
this
one thing
straight.
correct here. Nobody's
Okay,
volunteering.
so there's pay involved, and I still don't understand why you're doing it.
Let me tell you how bad my weekend was. My ARCA car caught fire and came home. I didn't get to spot the ARCA. I mean, that's a bad weekend.
So not only do you spot trucks, you also spot ARCA.
I didn't know. I didn't
No,
spot it.
that's one thing I'm not doing.
I mean, he was
anymore.
going to.
Never had to do it. They left.
The only time I'll spot ARCA is if somehow Bubba ends up back in an ARCA car, and I'll have to do that one. But what's up? Freddie Kraft spotter for Bubba Wallace and the 20 truck, Nick Leitz, I think his name was this week.
20?
20. Yeah.
He also wrecked.
He spun out. We
That's a wreck.
Nah, it is a spin out. That was just a spin. TJ's guy almost had a hell of a wreck. Are you saving that for later?
Do you want that to be my what an idiot?
Yeah,
'Cause it can be.
I thought that was going to be.
I don't
one
think he's
idiot,
lifted
so
yet.
we can
Yeah, we'll wait on that.
What's
one.
up, Casey?
Hey guys, Casey Boat here, and this episode is sponsored by Ross.
Oh, God.
Just kidding.
Every episode.
I would like to thank him for giving us a ton of content to talk about. He definitely keeps things interesting. So, well, I would say Kansas was a pretty solid weekend. Definitely for Denny Hamlin. What do you guys think?
I hope the race played on TV as well as it did in person.
Man, just the month of May has
Yeah.
started off stellar. Like, I'm a
Yeah.
huge fan of the month of May from a racing perspective. It's my favorite month of the year for racing. The Kentucky Derby kicks off. You got F1 here in America. You got obviously the Cup race, the truck race in Kansas. Like, you couldn't have asked for a better first weekend of racing across the board.
How was the F1 race? Obviously, we didn't.
Well, here's the problem with
Yeah,
F1.
missed the whole thing.
If you watch them side by side, F1 sucks. Like, if you legitimately say NASCAR sucks, I'm an F1 fan, and you put them up side by side and you watch them side by side, I don't know how you can support your argument, because the only thing that was exciting was watching Verstappen outbreak people driving from, I think he started ninth to finish first. At one point, he had an 18-second lead. There was zero racing on the racetrack. And then in the Cup race, you had the exact opposite playing out. You had comers and goers all day. You had guys spinning out on their own all day. And obviously, we had an exciting finish. So
A lot of different leaders
I don't know
up
how
there.
anybody can argue with me when I say, if you watch them side by side, the F1 race sucked.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because you or whoever was managing the Couch Racer account quote tweeted this, but Adam Stern tweeted Gunther Steiner when looking at the
Who?
rate.
Gunther. That's Gwenther.
No. When looking at the ratings, NASCAR is still #1 at the moment, but IndyCar is falling behind. If we continue to do a good job, F1 can become the dominant motorsport discipline in the United States. What do you guys think?
I mean, what's he supposed to say? He's not going to say, yeah, we're going to get our ass kicked by NASCAR. I think. Listen, I mean, there's a good possibility that they challenge our ratings numbers this week just for the fact that they were on
It's new.
network television
Yep.
and we were on FS1.
And it's new
But
still, too.
yeah, and
It only happened
but
Miami.
And I saw people yesterday tweeting like, well, you know, the race started 20 minutes after the Cup race and it was over by stage 2. Yeah, you know why? Because if somebody had to sit through 4 hours of that boring nobody would watch it. Listen. And what I will say is their announcers do a great job of making you think something's happening. Like they're almost like our MRN or PRN announcers. Like they make it exciting when there's really nothing going on.
Most of their excitement comes from the strategy calls too.
Yeah.
You know, they pump up a strategy.
Yeah, they
like what's this guy doing for tires?
They have
here?
really good graphics where they're like, if this actually plays out perfectly, this guy might get within 3 seconds of this guy by the end of the race. It's just I've watched it. I think Formula One's great. I enjoy watching it, but like I don't think there's any way it takes over as the dominant sport in America.
If I'm NASCAR, I take offense to this guy saying this, and I take my gloves off and I'm swinging. Like you're redoing your TV contract. So why don't you sign it up with a company that's willing to put you on network more versus a company that's not? Because that helps your sponsors, it helps your teams, it helps your drivers, it helps your growth. But also, I'm going to take that and I'm going to say, you know what, y'all can kiss my ass. I'm going international. I'm going to take the NASCAR product to Canada and Mexico next year. And the following year, I'm going overseas because we had success when we went to Japan. And there is no way that you can tell me that we can't go to some of these tracks, whether they're F1 or ovals or whatever, and make a big splash. Now, do we need to be racing internationally every weekend? No. But getting to Canada is pretty easy. Getting to Mexico is pretty easy. And then do one race overseas. I think NASCAR has more opportunity for growth in the U.S. right now than F1. But we got to do it right. I mean, there was a time when 10 million people were watching every single Cup race, and 30+ million people were tuning into the Daytona 500. We're not there right now. We're at about 2.5 million viewers to 4 million viewers, depending on what channel we're on. But there's no reason why we can't make things hot again.
The model is right there in front of you. It's that Netflix show. That's all there is to it. Like, Netflix brought attention. That's the only reason people care about Formula One.
In America.
It's the same reason why anybody cared about golf this year, is because that same idea came out about golf. You know, I had numerous people, like their buddies of mine, run a pool for the Masters, and they doubled their entries because people were like, oh yeah, I know these guys now because I watched them on that Full Swing documentary. So it's like, that's all you need to do. Like, Bubba's show was great, but you need to do that broader across more teams like they do. Like, basically the Drive to Survive one is an episode per team. So, you know, like, just that's there. It's right there for you. Just figure out a way to do that, and you'll draw way more interest.
Have you seen the preview for the show Dirt on FS1?
Yes.
I haven't. I've heard about it. I haven't seen it.
Yes.
Have you seen the trailer for it? Well, I'm going to tell you what, man. It looks very well done. And it looks like it's going to be good. It's basically behind the scenes in the dirt world. And I can tell you right now, I'm going to watch it. Guess when it runs? It's 7 o'clock.
Casey in it.
We put out one last year on USA Network that ran at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So how are we not more in touch with what actually needs to happen and what network it needs to be on? Because USA Network at 10 o'clock ain't it.
I couldn't even tell you what channel USA is.
Me either.
Like, number-wise.
Me
You know
either.
what I mean? Like,
I have no idea. No.
I mean, I know area you could find it, but I couldn't tell you right now. What channel
Hulu
it
doesn't
is.
have numbers, so I can't tell you either. So
I mean, do you guys think that's the reason why so many celebrities showed up to Miami?
They're just going for a party.
yeah, it's Miami.
It's Miami. It's Miami. You know.
Yeah,
I mean,
but they they would go to Austin. And
But it's like
I said, it's a party.
but it's a once a year thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, once they get a couple big names and they go and, hey, these people are going. You want to go? Yeah, I'm going to go too. Then it's just
it's the elitists hanging out with the elitists is basically all that is.
do they go to Monaco for a great race?
I did see. How about I saw this morning? Was it George Russell complaining that he had to stand in the sun for 30 minutes because a pre-race was taking?
Yeah, there was a
forever?
lot of them. There was a whole.
He said, "I'd like
article
to see another sport have to do that." Okay, bud, come to a race every week. Hang out with us.
There was a whole article written on that. Did you
Really?
see it?
I just saw one quote tweet. Dude.
No, there's a whole article written. Eric Jones actually tweeted about it and said this is a hilarious read or whatever, and it has a lot of the drivers. There was like the minority was definitely this was cool to go out there and be announced. Like, I guess there was some big when they announced the drivers. They were. Did you see it?
No.
They did some bit like driver intro. They did a bigger driver intro, kind of like what we do every week. And most of them are like, I just want to go to my car, talk to my engineers, get in there and race. So,
Too bad.
yeah.
well, let's get back to Kansas. I know, Freddie, you had a pretty solid weekend.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
So first thing going chronologically, the first thing I want to bring up, and this I'm only bringing this up, and I'm going to be a complete homer right here. I think we need to figure out a way to make the qualifying format a little more. I don't know what the word fair. I don't know what the word is.
Fair.
Because you know the first group goes out, and were you in the first group?
Oh yeah.
We missed the cutoff. We were sixth in the first group. We missed the cutoff by 200th of a second. I think it was like a 63 to a 65, something like that. So now technically, you know, you would be the first guy out. You would think, all right, that's 11th in the race.
Yeah.
But now the second group goes out, you know, 10, 15 minutes later, and
Track temperature
drops, race track cools down, and like 10 guys beat us. And so now we go from where I thought we were going to start 11th, we start 17th. And it's just solely based on when people went out for qualifying. And I know this isn't the first time. I remember, I think it was last year, Richmond maybe, like the whole second group beat the whole first group, basically, just because of track temp and when they went out. So I don't know what the fix is, and I hate bringing up problems when you don't have an answer, but I feel like, and then it even doubled down on that like later. So now the first group sits there and cools down, and the second group just goes out and qualifies, and they line them back up. And it was pretty evident that the first group guys were going to be faster in the second round because they had longer for their tires to cool down. So it's just, I feel like there's got to be a better way to do this. I know why they do it for TV, so you can interview guys in Group 2 while Group 1's going and vice versa. But, just for parity-wise, obviously we had a really good race car, but we had to start 17th yesterday because of when we went out for qualifying. So, I don't know. I just felt like that was something that I thought maybe needs to be addressed somewhere down the line.
Everyone they were running the top, and as you're standing up there, you can see the shadow off the wall going from right up against the wall slowly as every minute that goes by, it's getting lower and lower. And that just cools the track off as well. So definitely saw the same thing. Pretty big disadvantage.
Yeah, I think you were right behind me. I think like 6th or 7th in the first round, and I don't even know where you ended up starting. Like 18th, maybe. Yeah. We weren't very far behind you. Yeah, it's just. But other than that, the race, man, when the race started off, I thought it was going to be banner day for Toyota. All of us drove right to the top 6. I think it was 6 or 7. And as we went, I think the Chevys gained speed. Obviously, Toyotas were better on long runs all day long, but the Chevys definitely found something. Rudy Fugle must have had a magic wand in his pit box somewhere because the 24 car was the loosest thing I've seen to start the race. I went down to Brandon came down to talk to somebody, Hirschman maybe, and I was like, well, you guys got you tuned up this week because, he about spun out real early. And then he did hit the wall in front of us, have to pit, lost a lap. Come back, and there they are at the end of the race in contention. I think he ended up right in front of us, 3rd maybe. But, yeah, I don't know what magic wand Rudy waved over that thing, but it definitely woke it up somewhere in the middle of the race.
That's a Chad Knaus moment. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we'd watch Jimmy Johnson fire off either the weekend or the race, wrecking, and next thing you know, with 50 to go, it's like Jimmy Johnson to the lead. And you're like, what? How do you do that?
Same with Larson though. What after
Larson got spun out. He didn't
right, but
spin out by
he was
himself.
There at the end.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was definitely a great comeback. But I'm just saying, like the 24 car was wrecking loose, and they turned it into a top 5 car again.
TJ, how was your weekend?
It was pretty miserable. So
tell us how you really feel.
We just didn't have as much speed in the car as we needed, and it made the race really hard, especially that track. And it's hard back there in the pack when you're in that group. It's hard to get out of it once you're in it. The people, as soon as you clear a guy, you got another guy slide jobbing you, and there was a lot of slide jobs yesterday. So
what's the talk amongst the Ford camp right now? Because to Freddie's point, 6 of the top 7 were Toyotas. There wasn't a Ford to be found in the top 10 for a lot of the race. Every now and then, Blaney would step in for a minute. Logano would pop in there. Amarola popped in there once. But, like, the Fords are – it's like they're not even here.
Yeah, that was definitely a tough weekend for us. We got tracks coming up that are our strengths. We got some strengths coming up. So,
but is Ford asking for help?
I don't know.
It's got to be. I don't know. Like, I don't know if TV showed this yesterday. Me and TJ will know it. And he'll probably back me up on this somehow, some way. I don't know if they tried some off the wall setup that didn't work. The 14 car was the slowest car on the racetrack, and that includes the Rick Ware cars, the 78. The 14 was
he was
the
bad.
slowest car on the racetrack.
Joe Campbell's arguably had the longest 2 weeks of any spotter.
I don't know what. And then they come down pit road and the wheel falls off.
Yeah.
Like.
I needed that caution, by the way. I needed
3 loose wheels yesterday during the race.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because you talk about the F1 NASCAR comparison. And, again, you watch F1, those guys hit their pit sign, and they get tires of gas in 4 seconds, and they leave, and they get all 4 tires at one time. Their tires will never fall off. They're single lug.
Yeah.
We got to do something.
I don't know what the answer is.
Well, it's something.
It's just I don't know. Like,
what's the penalty now for losing a wheel? Nothing?
2 laps.
So we went from suspending people for a month,
which was wrong,
to 2 laps.
I think 2 laps is fair.
Yeah, 2 laps is a lot.
I'm not going to tell you. For there a while, it was a huge issue, but
it's us. It's not the. It's not the
pretty
equipment.
rare now.
It's the people doing.
It's not that rare if we had 3 tires yesterday.
But we've went weeks without months.
And
haven't had any issues.
I don't think there's. I think in the beginning there was an issue with the wheels or the pit equipment.
Yeah.
Now it's just human error. I think that's all it is. And this guy's trying to go too fast or dropping the jack too fast, and that's the problem.
We had loose wheels with 5 lug nuts though too. We just never had a tire come off unless they wrecked.
But yeah, I don't know.
Brett, what did you think of the broadcast?
I didn't actually get to watch a lot of the broadcast until the end of the race. But I saw a lot of positive tweets about Kurt Busch being in the booth. And here's what that adds. And look, I'm going to go off on a quick tangent. It's hard for drivers and I say this with all due respect to Clint Boyer, Tony Stewart, Dale Jr., Jeff Burton. I could keep going. It's hard for drivers to analyze a race with a car that's out there that they've never driven. And you can say, oh, well, Clinton Dale Jr. went and tested a car. Okay, that ain't the same thing as going through practice, knowing what changes to make, going through qualifying, knowing which way the car is going to trend and the tire's going to trend in the race. So I think having a Kurt Busch that is recently out of the car, obviously raced last year, full-time until he was injured, I think it adds a lot. I think Kevin Harvick going in the booth next year will add a lot. And I think that it's important for fans to realize that, I mean, Clint Boyer has just as many laps in the current generation car during a race as Brett Griffin does. So I don't know how it's a bad thing when you put a guy. It can't be a bad thing when you put a guy like Kurt in there.
I've seen some people complaining again that, you know, he was kind of rooting on Denny at the end, I assume, or showing bias towards Toyota. Listen, that's where he works. You know, if you give him a contract to be a Fox broadcaster, he will not do that. You know what I mean? Like, if he's a full-time Fox guy, he'll be impartial. But right now, he works at 2311, so that's who he's going to cheer for. And I think that that's fine. Like, he's not in the booth every week doing it. He makes a couple of appearances. But yeah, I mean, just sitting in meetings with Kurt or listening to him. I went and spotted for him at a test, and just listening to the way he breaks down a corner in feedback, I can tell that he's going to be amazing at that job. So, you know, I have no issues. I think, like, to your point, I think that the more experienced guys in this car that you get in that booth, the better off you're going to be.
I mean, I think I saw Carl Edwards is at least coming back for Darlington.
I saw that. That's interesting. You know, I mean, that's a guy that's been gone for, what, 7 years? How long's Carl been gone? When was his last race, Andrew? Yeah. If you don't mind looking that up.
It's 2016.
2016. That's a long time, man. That's 8 years.
Yeah, it looks like we have Richard and Kyle Petty for Stage 1, Carl Edwards for Stage 2, and Bill Elliott for Stage 3.
Yeah, so I think it's awesome for the throwback side, right? But yeah. In terms of information that we were just talking about, Bill Elliott don't know anything about these cars.
No.
Nothing. I mean, he knows more than I do, probably, but that ain't enough to get on TV and talk about it. But anyway, no, I think it's nostalgic, Casey, to do that. Obviously, Carl would have been a champion if the caution doesn't come out at Homestead. And after that race, Carl Edwards quit. He said, "F this, I'm going home. You can have this shit, I'm done."
I think there were a few other things.
Who won that championship?
Components to it.
Was that Jimmy?
That was Jimmy.
I think Jimmy did.
That was Jimmy's 7th.
Correct. To correct one thing, there is still suspensions. Crew guys get suspended, not crew chiefs.
Okay.
I think it's changers or changer and Jackman, or changer carrier Jackman.
Okay. All right. But no, man. I mean, look, we could jump ahead to Darlington real quick. Nostalgic race. It's cool to have all those people in there. Cool personalities. Fox has got to make a decision though. Do you want to deliver nostalgic content or do you want to deliver real time information that fans want?
Yeah.
And maybe they can do both. Because you got Clint up there, but I would love to see, you know, and look, this costs money, but Fox has money. I would love to see Clint go run Martinsville in the fall when he's not full time on Fox. Like, put him in an open car, and maybe this is something Colleague Racing would do, or somebody like Project 91 would do. But it's smart for Fox to invest in their people, and having Clint run a race at somewhere like Martinsville would only help his knowledge of what it's like to be out there right now, because it's a lot different than when he was out there 3 years ago, because things change by the weekend around here, not to mention by the year and by the car.
Clint flew home on this, had him a good old goodie bag of those banana hammocks or wherever that team.
Banana hammocks?
The team that he went with.
Oh, the Savannah bananas?
Yeah.
That's not a banana hammock, I hope.
Nope.
TJ has an infatuation with bananas. I'm surprised you weren't at that game videoing everybody.
I'm not trying to call him out, but we did give Herm a little bit of a hard time for his truck race. Because Herm spotted the one truck and
Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. That actually was. I made note of that. I mean, she ran.
She got 15th.
15th, and to have Toni, right?
Breidinger, yeah.
Okay, attractive lady. Victoria's Secret's on the truck. Like, you want to talk about what gets women? We have a 40% women female demographic in our sport. 38 if you want to be dead nuts on. 62, 38. want to talk about getting females excited about racing? A, have a lady in the race. B, have her have a freaking Victoria's Secret car. Do you realize if my kids had seen that, they'd go nuts. They'd be the biggest fan of her ever. So I give a shout out to Toyota or whoever put that program together.
Well, Toyota does a great job. I mean, she's in their commercials. There's a whole woman commercial around all of their athletes, but she's also sponsored by Free People. Like, it is so cool to see a different type of demographic come into the sport because of people like Toni.
And I'm sure it's related. She works for Victoria's Secret, doesn't she? Like, I think she's a model for Victoria's Secret.
She's an ambassador. I don't know if she's.
Do you think they're taking applications?
Yeah,
for you?
They got a mail line, right?
I asked Herm if he was going to spot in some lingerie.
That's what I was getting at. I gave Herm a hard time.
That's what I want to see is a meme with Herm wearing lingerie.
I could think of a few activation ideas that probably wouldn't go over well.
The thing is with Herm, I could see y'all messing with him actually get under his skin. I could see him changing colors. And
he's probably going to change colors when he hears you say
I may change colors then from blue to pink. But no, I think, Casey, that is an awesome sponsorship and a great activation. Like, how cool is that?
That's a solid run.
Could you imagine a Victoria's Secret mobile marketing display in front of the racetrack at Miami or at Las Vegas or at some of these awesome markets that we go to? Like, how cool would that be for our male and female fans?
Yeah, I was going to say, the males are going to enjoy it probably a little more than some.
I think just putting my marketing hat on, there's some really cool taking in the like apparel and other things, that aspect. I mean, it
could be huge.
Or
and if you're a guy, listen to me. Go in the Victoria's Secret store and go spray on their cologne because their cologne's the only cologne I'll wear. It smells amazing.
Are you sure it's not perfume?
No, it's cologne.
Have you been chewing on your show sheet?
No, I had gum and I had to tear it off to get rid of my gum.
All right. Well, on that note, let's head into spot on, spot off.
Looks like it.
First topic, Legacy Motorclub announces they will switch to Toyota starting in the 2024 season. Team owner Jimmy Johnson tweeted, "I'll always be appreciative of Chevy and what we accomplished together. Starting in 24, I'm excited for Legacy Motorclub to partner with Toyota Racing and forge a new legacy for the future." Brett, spot on, spot off.
Oh, I didn't want to go first. So last week we talked about being a key partner, and we talked about which teams are key partners for Chevrolet. We rattled those 3 teams off. Legacy Motor Club is not one of them. And Jimmy Johnson is a 7-time champion with what manufacturer? Chevrolet. I am so spot off for Chevrolet allowing Jimmy Johnson to leave the conversation, to leave the table. Clearly Jimmy has a 3 to 5 year plan here with this team, and clearly he's making a lot of the decisions. He's bringing in a lot of his people to the table, and Jimmy Johnson is arguably the most competitive guy we know, because you can't win 7 championships at the Cup Series level with all the different cars and all the different formats in all the different time span without being truly competitive and truly amazing. I know good and well in Jimmy's heart, and I have not talked to Jimmy other than he tweeted me and corrected me that it's not Legacy Motorsports, it's Legacy Motor Club, and I'm an idiot. I'm sorry, Mr. Goat. I did that, and I apologized on the Twitter. But I know good and damn well in Jimmy Johnson's heart.
Did you block him?
That he didn't want to leave Chevrolet. So for him to get up and leave as a manufacturer and switch from Chevrolet to Toyota, it tells us that Toyota is going to make him a key partner, that they're going to bring him to the table. And listen, I've been privy to information as a spotter where you find out on days like the Daytona 500 and days like Talladega that the key partners are not going to work with you. Well, if you're Jimmy Johnson, who has 7 championships with Chevrolet, and they got the balls to look at you and say, "Hey, Jimmy, we're not going to help Noah or Eric win this race, just so you know." Now, I don't know if that actual conversation happened, but I know that they do happen. If you want to be priority, you got to be a key partner. And if he switches to Toyota, clearly he feels like he's going to be a key partner. Real quick on the Toyota side, win-win for them. They get a 7-time Cup Series champion that came from another manufacturer, which makes it look like you're very attractive for some reason. Toyota initially got into the sport for one major reason. They had other reasons, but the major reason was to Americanize their brand. Well, they've done that over the years. And you go get an American icon like Jimmie Johnson, you're doing it even further. So spot on for Legacy Motorclub and spot off for Chevrolet.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about all the success Jimmy's had in Cup and Chevy. When he was back running truck, them stadium trucks, wherever it was, they were Team Chevy trucks. That's how long that relationship has been. So to your point, 100% spot off for them letting him go. And I have been in those meetings also where they'll tell you, like, we used to practice at Daytona and Talladega. They would say, okay, guys, we're going to go out in the line. The Chevy cars are going to be 10, 12 deep. It's going to be all the Hendrick cars, all the RCR cars. Trackhouse wasn't around then. I was at RPM, which essentially is Legacy Motorclub, and they go, all right, you guys just line up at the back and figure it out.
However you want.
We literally don't care what you guys do. And then, that would be the same thing. Like if we could push one of these Hendrick cars or one of these RCR cars to the win or a stage win, that's what we need to do. And you're like, okay, well, off, all right, great, thanks a lot. But on the Toyota side of it, listen, we've been fighting strength in numbers for years. I mean, they were even worse before we got there.
Because y'all race each other the whole race.
But just in plate racing alone, you have to base your strategy off of the other two manufacturers because you don't have enough cars to just do whatever you want to do. And it was even worse before 2311. It was 4, now it's 6, now it's going to be 8, and maybe more if either one of them teams adds some. So now you're evening the numbers to where you can just run your own race and not have to worry so much about what them other guys are doing. So it's a tremendous get on our side. And like you said, Eric Jones has a outstanding relationship with Toyota. I've seen a lot of, I think Jack Irving and some other guys from Toyota were tweeting how happy they are to have Eric back in the fold with Toyota. So, I mean, it's just a win-win for Toyota, and I don't have any idea how Chevy lets this happen.
And on top of it, I think a lot of us have seen this, but Toyota has a really strong development program, and we've always talked about Toyota doesn't have a place for some of these drivers that should be moving up to go. Well, now this is the opportunity, right? I think I don't know where the hierarchy will be with teams, but at least we know that there are more spots opening up for Toyota development to move forward as well. TJ, what do you think?
I don't think any of those spots are opening up.
I mean, if they add cars in the future.
So yeah, definitely a punch in the mouth for Chevy.
Yeah, but I mean, there's no way that Jimmy just did this and then at least say, "Hey, this is I offer over here." There's no way Chevy. He just blindsided Chevy.
And I don't know all the things that go on behind the table or behind closed doors, but these OEMs control so many aspects of the data that's distributed from a sim perspective, tire perspective. They control how many hours of wind tunnel time these teams get, where that information is distributed. So imagine that, me and Freddie are best friends and I tell him everything, and me and TJ are good friends and I only tell him 25% of what I tell Freddie. That's the difference between being a key partner to these OEMs versus not. And Toyota in the Cup Series, they don't not have a key partner. Everybody's a key partner. So you're now adding your third organization. I mean, I would think that a lot of Chevrolet teams and maybe even some Ford teams would have loved to have been that third key partner.
We saw key partnerships come into play this year with louvers. There's a key partners that got information that other teams didn't about what to do with these louvers or how to do it and who received what. You see it right there in the proofs in the pudding of why one team had 8 louvers that were doctored, modified, and one team had 1. So I mean, that's just the way it goes.
I think this hurts down the road because when you do those running orders, you still need these guys. These guys are a pretty important piece to your puzzle. Whether that's, when you take all the Chevys and line them up, you kind of know the pecking order of which guys are, and these guys are still. You need them. They're just important, even if they're 6th in line. They're important because that keeps that. If you have a 6-car train with these 2, cars in the back of it, and you take them away, now you're only 4 cars.
Yeah. I really wish I would have reached out to Justin Marks leading into the show because it just now hit me. But when you look at what he accomplished, when he bought Chip Ganassi Racing, Chevrolet could have told him to go away. They could have told him, you're not going to be a key partner. So for him to staple his place and his legacy as Trackhouse and remain a key partner, because without that partnership, Ross Chastain ain't making a Final Four last year.
No.
Without that partnership, Ross Chastain probably ain't winning 2 races last year. Daniel Suarez winning a race. Obviously, Ross having a great season this. If he can't maintain that, then he's in trouble. So shout out to him for once again proving how well he's doing on the business side of the sport. And again, man, it hurts my heart a little bit to see, because this would be like Dale Jr. announcing tomorrow that Junior Motorsports is switching to Ford. Like, he's been a Chevy guy his whole life. Every car at his house is a Chevrolet. So to have this happen, just it's like watching Brett Favre leave the Packers and go to the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah. You're like, no, this can't happen. You watch Aaron Rodgers leave to go to the Jets. You're like, no. You watch Rusty Wallace switch from Ford to Dodge or whatever he did back in the day, Pontiac. And you're like, no, this can't happen. Like, this is just one of those heartbreaking moments.
I'm just amazed at how quickly it happened, where Legacy Motor Club, obviously the transition happened in the offseason. I mean, it's only May, and this has already been solidified and announced. There must have been conversations even before the announcement.
I think conversations started probably when Jimmy bought the team, or is in the process of accruing more and more equity in the team. And like I said, I think he's steering the ship.
And listen, and obviously there's a lot of turnover there front office wise. This was where we were going with Bubba. Like, this is the original plan was Danny was going to buy into to RPM, and that was going to become a Toyota team. Now, this could be just coincidence that it happens to be that same team, but these conversations could have started that long ago. Was that 3-4 years ago now? Because I think that was the original plan, and that kind of fell apart, and then they formed 23XI. But that these conversations were happening around this team 3 or 4 years ago.
Let's move on. NASCAR displayed the part in question from the number 3 team's penalty post Martinsville in the hauler for teams to view. They also posted the picture and explanation of the violation on social media for fans to see. Spot on, spot off, Freddie.
Spot on. I laughed because I don't know what the hell I'm looking at. And even when you explain it to me, I probably don't even know what the hell you're talking about. But I laughed at Brad. Brad commented, like, he commented on the picture, like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. Like, what is that? So, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that do know exactly what that is and exactly what it does. And right now they're planning on a way to get it a little bit better so that they don't get caught. So I think that's the takeaway from when you see this stuff out back is, oh, that's what they were doing. Now, how can I tweak that right there to make it so I don't get caught like they did? So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I think it's 100% spot on for NASCAR to do that, even NASCAR to explain it, and I hope it continues.
TJ.
Yeah, I'm spot on the same way. Put it out there. And then explain it, too. That's even better. So, all for it.
Brett.
We say we want transparency. Well, we got it. You can't be Richard Childress Racing and argue that you didn't do what they're saying you did, and they put it right in front of the God and everybody to see it and go, hey, look at what these people did. Busted.
Yeah, for sure.
Busted.
The race at Kansas resulted in 11 cautions and 37 lead changes among 12 drivers, setting a new record for most lead changes ever for a 400-mile race at a 1.5-mile track.
Hold on, man. Now, we got to quantify something with these stats. Were these real lead changes or were these those Denny Hamlin lead changes? That
So I think they were changes at the start-finish line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, there were. I don't know if this is a good stat or a bad stat. Like, have we just not had any lead changes?
Meaning, it hasn't been as exciting in the past.
It was a great race.
But what was the difference, I guess, now?
Because there was different. There was comers and goers. You had guys that would stay out, then they would fade a little bit because their stuff was wore out and they weren't as good. And then you had guys that would pit and put tires on, and they would come back up through there, and you get the lead changes.
I would say a third to a half of the lead changes were due to pit strategy, which I'm fine with. That's good. That's fine.
Well, at least there's the opportunity. Yeah. We're not all in the same exact strategy.
And what I thought was great about this race was limited tires. When we started the race, we knew, I think we had 2 sets of stickers. Like, you obviously have to pit X amount of times. I think it's like 5 or 6 times throughout the race. And
it was close.
So you have, after those times that you have to pit, you have 2 sets of tires left, 2 sets of stickers, and 1 set of scuffs, I think it was. So like if you get an extra caution in the stage, stage one has an extra caution, you put tires on that. Now you've only got one extra set at the end of the race. If there's another stage, so now you got limited tires. I think we put our last set on with about 50 to go, 55 to go, something like that.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And what I was really hoping was, and it wouldn't have played out, but I don't know why guys like the 22 or maybe the 45 that were top 10 guys, but not really in contention to win.
And Joey wasn't really a top 10
Stay
guy.
out. Yeah, like if they stay out right there and you catch a caution in 30 laps, like we caught one, but it was 5 laps after we had ball pit. Like you catch a caution with 20, 30 to go and you have a set of tires laying there, you just won the race. Like there's no question.
We took a wave round, and that saved us a set of tires.
Yeah.
We had to take a wave round to get back on the lead lap. And honestly, that gave us an advantage at one point of the race. But every team starts a race. You got 8 sets of tires, 200 whatever laps it is divided by 8, and that's how many laps you have to run per set. If you put 2 on in that time, then you got to run
somewhere longer.
Yeah, which you don't know when that's going to be. So
I just love the fact that it puts these crew chiefs in a box to where they like you can't just come and fire 4 tires on every time the yellow flag.
That was the
comes out.
perfect amount because it formed 2 different strategies, especially with the cautions.
Yeah. And then, so I mean, we ran great yesterday, so it's hard for me to knock anything about the race. But these cars, obviously, they still need work. Like you could literally run a guy down from a half a straightaway back, and then it'd take 10, 15 laps to pass him.
Well, Denny kept running Larson down.
Yeah.
Kept running. I mean, he'd catch him, he'd lose 10, 12 car lengths. He'd catch him, he'd lose 8 car lengths. Like, it's still very obvious they're very aero dependent, and I don't know how you fix it, but no, you're right. The biggest thing I had to go wrong with the race, because I got to bitch about something, is
naturally
the stages take too long. Like, when the stage starts until we go by green, it can't be 11 to 15 minutes. Like, that's literally an NFL halftime.
You ought to stand in the sun and feel that 11 to 15
Well, George
minutes.
Russell wouldn't like that.
George Russell would never make it as a spotter. He wouldn't make one stage.
He would not make it the pre-race.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, man, listen, Kansas put on an exceptional race. I thought the truck race was good. I thought the cup race was even better. This was by far the best race of the year for me. It may be one of the best races in NASCAR history, to be honest with you, in terms of the excitement.
Hot track.
And it was hot, man, hot and slick. And multi-grooves and the momentum up top, driving it in deep on the bottom. Like, it had so many things that just made it exciting. When's the last time we saw guys wrecking by themselves over and over and over and over?
Imagine if they didn't have all this grip and a little more horsepower, a little less tire. Imagine how exciting most of the races would be.
Yeah, it's it's also something that we've talked about on here 1,000 times. Tire wear. Like, I was surprised to see, Truex was the first one to peel off. There was a caution right after a stage, I think, towards the end of the race, maybe 80, 90 to go. And we Booty's like, we're staying out. Like, the top 5 or 6 stayed out. Martin pulled off. He put, and I'm like, oof, I don't know if that's because we'd only run maybe like 8 to 10 laps. And I was like,
yeah,
I think he's buried in traffic now. Fuck no, he drove straight to the lead. And I'm like, okay, tire wear matters. Like now, this is a sign of, okay, we're heading in the right direction somewhere, because like it's slick track, like you said, but like he was going to drive to the lead and check out, but the caution came out and it kind of screwed that strategy for him. But
we got lapped and came out behind Ross and Denny and who was he racing?
Truex probably.
Yes, we came out behind them and actually drove back around them, which normally
you'd be stuck.
You'd be stuck right there. We were able to, and we drove away a little bit.
If they figure out a way, and I heard some more good news about Martinsville tires yesterday, which would be amazing. Tire wear. This whole sport is based on tire wear. If the tires wear out and these guys got to drive the cars or manage their tires, like if you you can't just go hard the whole time, or you got to stay under the tire, can't overheat them, because that would have happened yesterday. You'd run a guy down from half a straightaway back, catch him, and you'd have to bomb it in on the bottom. Well, we would, but like you'd have to bomb it in on the bottom or bomb it in the middle, overdrive your entry. But now you're heating your front tires up, so then they get hot, and then you lose your front turn, and now the guy behind you catches both of you. It is just like we need to be less aero dependent, obviously, but tire wear is heading in the right direction.
Well, guess what? This is the best 3 races in a row you could possibly have in NASCAR history in this generation of a car then, because you had Kansas where you had tire wear, and you're coming off of Dover, which was a damn good race for Dover. Kansas, Darlington, North Wilkesboro. 3 tracks in a row that's going to eat tires.
Should be great.
Speaking of great, Denny Hamlin made contact with Kyle Larson on the last lap of the race at Kansas, sending Larson into the wall as they battled for the lead. Was this a clean pass? Freddie.
Oh, my gosh. Really?
Yes.
Woo! I mean, the guy's great. What do you want? I mean, listen, you call me a homer all you want. I didn't see anything here that was egregious. You know what? Do you want to spell that for him?
You didn't see the 5 in the wall? I mean, damn, Freddie.
Listen,
Take it how you can get
he piles it into turn 1 as hard as I've ever seen anybody drive it in there all day to get position on Kyle. And then he's up his ass off it too. And from the head-on shot that I saw, it looks to me like he either gets Kyle loose or Kyle brushes the wall off of 2, and then Denny hits him in the left rear. But if Kyle doesn't break momentum at all off of 2, I think he wins the race. And listen, even if it's dirty, you want to call it dirty, it's win at all costs. Like, you got to win the race. I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but the guy that finished 4th in points last year didn't make the playoffs. So the days of just saying, I'm going to take a good day and point my way in, those are over. We've had now 9 winners in 12 races. So you can't just say, I'm going to be fine. Like, you look at Kyle Busch last year. If he doesn't get that lucky win at Bristol when them guys take each other out, he don't make the playoffs. So when you have an opportunity to win a race, you've got to do it. So listen, I didn't think there was anything that was completely out of line. I think he tried to pack as much air on Kyle's left rear as he could. He got him free, then he drove into him, got him freer, and won the race. But at the end of the day, he's in the playoffs. He's taking the checkered flag, and obviously he pays my bills, so I can't have any problem with it.
TJ.
I mean, he just wrecked the heck out of him. No, he – as much as I'd like to – if you don't look at the head-on shot, I don't know if everyone's seen it or not, but once you see the shot straight down the backstretch, you see Kyle get into the fence, and Denny's not on him. So if Noah thinks that Ross didn't leave him any room, then he's going to be severely disappointed if he's like, because Denny gave Kyle, I mean, there was enough room there. There was just barely enough room, but Kyle does get in the fence first, and when he comes off the fence is when they hit a little bit, and you know, Kyle still finishes second. I don't think Denny, when you're on the inside of somebody like that, like if you're racing, you're driving off their door. You're not turning lower. You're driving up. You think they're going to come out and go right against the wall. Well, if that guy misses a little bit and comes back, hits the wall and then comes back, you're probably going to hit. And how many wrecks have you seen where your guy's on the inside and that guy doesn't go all the way to the wall and your guy about runs him over because they expect him to go all the way to the wall? Well, Denny's just driving off of him, and being in the, you know, of race some, you're not going to give any extra room. It's the last lap of the race. I'm not going to short myself, 3 feet right there. You're trying to pass this guy. So, especially for the win. So, I think it's hard racing. I don't think Kyle meant to get in the wall. I don't think Denny meant to get into Kyle, and that's how it played out.
This is 2 of the greatest race car drivers in NASCAR history, and certainly 2 of the greatest in the field, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, in a battle. And Kyle clearly is at a disadvantage with how his car is handling versus how Denny's is handling.
But driving the shit out of it.
Driving the ever-living shit out of it. And like I said, man, it was awesome to watch, and it's hard racing, and I've not really heard a lot from Kyle Larson and what he had to say after the race. Not sure if he was interviewed or what those comments look like, but I don't see how Kyle Larson can be mad about this because he gave it his all. He got into the fence. Denny ain't going to lift in that scenario. And Denny got into him a little bit. Kyle made an amazing save after the fact and still made it back around the start-finish line to finish where he did. So I don't know how, as a fan, unless you're a Kyle Larson fan, and even then, you shouldn't be butthurt about this because your guy was doing everything he could do. How many times have we seen Kyle Larson, again, one of the greatest race car drivers in the world, and no matter what he's driving, put people in awful positions and put them in the fence?
I know
and
one.
Ruin their day.
I know at least one.
It happens a lot. I mean, Denny's even made the comment on his show, Actions Detrimental.
Yeah, you don't
He even made a comment on his show that Larson at some point just acts like you're not even out there anymore, and he just runs you into the fence. So this is a dog-eat-dog world, and if you don't like it, go watch F1 where they have stewards step in these situations and make calls that can change the outcome of the race versus letting the drivers handle it in their own hands. And
I got something.
What you got?
How much less passing would be in Formula One if there was no push to pass? Or the DRS, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be it.
I mean, these guys don't have any of that. This is on a hot, slick track. This is the racing that we all want to see, right? We saw Larson's up there sideways every single lap. Denny's running him down, doing everything he can to keep a little air on the nose, and he finally gets there, and they just have a racing incident. Like, this is like everyone's on the edge of their seat to last lap. The best part about it to me was it was like a quarter straightaway behind us, so I could watch the race for the lead and my car at the same time. But you know, it's like, who wasn't on the edge of the seat watching that?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's like, "Oh, what's going to happen? Oh, he's there. Like, what's going to happen?" Like, that's what we want to see. And I mean, I don't know how it gets any better than that.
Yeah, I was hoping they were because we were racing the 24 for third. I was like, if we could just get this 24 and them two take each other out, we're gonna win this. But two things: what a comeback for Larson.
Can't say that.
Like he gets dumped by Tyler early in the race, goes to the back, comes back in contention to win at the end. There, I seen some tweets pop up in my timeline? Did was the 51 car in the way? Is that
he wasn't? He wasn't out of the way. I mean, he ran the. He's certain. Listen, if I'm spotting for who spots for 51 car? Barkdahl.
It switches back and forth.
Yeah,
It's either Barkdahl or Jonathan Davis.
So if I'm sponsoring that car, that won't happen. If I'm spotting for that car, I can't afford to sponsor a Cup car. But if I'm spotting for that Cup car, I'm going to say the leaders are coming. They're working the middle and the top. Get the out of the way. Get to the bottom. Do not be a story here. Well, JJ didn't do that. If that's who was driving it.
Yeah, I think it was.
He just hung out in the middle of the racetrack, and Denny caught him. And to be honest with you, Denny certainly got air on his nose, air taken off of his nose because of where the 51 was running. If I'm NASCAR, I'm calling everybody to the truck after the race and saying, look, it wasn't your day. Get the out of the way. Don't do this again. And if you do, I'm going to fine you. Like, that's where I don't have patience as a sanctioning body for some of the stuff that goes on. But Denny Hamlin, former pit crew guy for TJ Majors, we talked about that when Denny was on here.
Goodies dash car. Yep.
49 Cup Series wins. And even given the loyalty that he gave to TJ and given the fact that he's won 49 Cup races, multiple Daytona 500s, TJ still, at what point is he going to win enough races for you to think he's Hall of Fame
When
worthy?
he quits racing, we'll talk about it. He's active now. I mean, to me, this Hall of Fame is just like after your career. It's
No, that's not how that works.
Well, I mean, his stats are certainly
they
probably
call him
good.
a future Hall of Famer for a reason.
Well, you don't win 3 Daytona 500s and not get the Hall of Fame.
So you're finally going to admit he's going to the Hall of Fame.
There's
After all these years of doing the show where you'd fight me on it.
Well, I mean, I'll still fight you because I don't want to talk about it until he's retired. But his stats are like looking at other people that are in the Hall of Fame. Denny's got.
Have we finished the 75 list yet? Is that done?
No, it has not been.
So is it 75 plus 50?
No, it's 25 plus the original 50.
So it's 25 new people.
New 25, yeah.
Okay.
The 50 greatest stay. They're adding 25.
So 25 new ones over 25 years.
Yeah. Jimmy Johnson hasn't been named. Do you think he's going to get it?
Nah, probably not. He ain't really done that much.
He's not retired yet. We can't talk about that.
Oh, spot on, spot off. Noah Gragson says after the race, nobody confronts the guy. Everybody is sick and tired of Chastain, but nobody has the balls to get him. After he and Ross engaged in a fight following the race at Kansas, sounds like he listens to our show, or you guys have basically told him he needs to step it up. Right.
Oh, boy. I'm, y'all aren't going to believe this, but I'm spot off for this whole thing.
Oh, do share.
Like, Mama taught me that if you think you're going to get in a fight, you better swing first. Because if you don't swing first, you might not get to swing at all. So if Noah wanted to go confront him, you can't put your hands on a man and expect him not to hit you in the mouth, which he didn't hit him in the mouth. He hit him in the jaw, and he hit him pretty hard. The audible of that is relatively loud. And Noah's hair in that slow motion version.
The hair was the...
It turned all the Joey and them all turned around when they heard it like that.
I mean, there's a cool picture on Twitter of Joey literally taking a sip of his Coca-Cola right as he gets clocked. I'll see if I can find that and retweet it for you guys.
I've got it. Drew
It's awesome.
I'll look for it.
But here's listen. I mean Ross Ross threw hands. I mean, this is like the third or fourth time we've seen him in his NASCAR career throw punches. And maybe this is why everybody is scared to confront Ross, because Ross ain't – listen, just because you can throw hands don't mean you can fight. But if you know a guy's going to throw hands and you ain't really the throwing hand kind, you ain't going to walk up to the guy. So Brendan Poole, like, he obviously don't want to throw hands because he says somebody needs to go whoop him. Well, I'm going to tell you, he didn't whoop him yesterday. It was the guy who grabbed him. If you grab my shirt or you push me, I'm going to hit you in the mouth because I don't know what else your intentions are. It's self-defense at that point. I don't know how – I mean, listen, the security guys – here's where I'll say I'm spot off for this too. If you're a security guy, okay, and your intention is to break the fight up, as soon as they grab each other, what should you do?
Break it up.
Break it up. You gave Ross an advantage by letting Ross throw a punch and then not letting Noah.
That's not really true. Noah could have went in there and swung first.
I'm just saying, from a security guard perspective,
they're told to break fights up, but if Noah gets a shot,
then why didn't they break it up?
They did break it up.
No, they didn't. They broke it up after he got popped in the mouth.
He got popped.
So is it a fair scenario?
They didn't.
I saw people
if you grab me and I pop you in the mouth and then they grab you and you can't
they
swing
didn't
back,
break
is
Regan
that fair?
and Ty Dillon up at Watkins Glen when they were yelling at each other for 30 seconds, holding each other's uniforms.
They shouldn't break them up.
Listen, I love this. I'm spot on for this happening. I'm spot on for the way Noah went about it, and now all the other stuff comes out about how there was a confrontation on an airplane between the two of these guys after Talladega, where Noah apparently was not happy with Ross Chastain. And listen, I've heard about people getting their ass beat at the airport. I've heard about people getting their ass beat in their own motorhome. This is part of our sport that not everybody gets to see.
Might be the same person now that I think about it.
Not everybody gets to see. Not everybody gets to hear about all these things. Well, I love the fact that this is out in public. But if I'm Noah Gragson, I'm gonna confront him. I'm not gonna put my hands on him. But if he raises his hands above his waist or puts his hands on me, I'm gonna knock him out.
Yeah, I don't. Listen, you can't go up there. Like I heard his interview afterwards. He's like, somebody's got to grab him. No, you don't got to grab him. You got to punch him in the face. Like if you grab him, you're going to get punched in the face, which you did. And like even on the racetrack, he took a couple shots at him, and he almost hurt. He hurt us. We were chasing Ross down for fourth last 20 laps or so, and we're catching him. We come up on Noah, and I wasn't even aware that they were having a feud at this point. Noah, like, we're running the top, and Noah just takes a swipe at Ross, completely misses him, and stacks us up. Like, ends up in front of us in the top lane and costs us. So now you're technically helping Ross. It's just like, listen, like, what was that, Mob Deep? There's no such thing as halfway crooks. Like, you're going to either do this or you're not. Like, go, if you're mad at the guy, go punch him in the face. If you're going to wreck him on the racetrack. Like, don't be half about it, because now you're just like playing to the crowd, like somebody's got to go hit him, so I'm going to go grab him. Well, then all you did was make him look like you just enhanced the legacy of the don't give a to her, because you walked up, put your hands on him. The funniest thing about the video is Ross telling him, "You better stop.
Yeah,
you better stop." Boom! Now I'm going to clock you in the jaw. Like that's the funniest thing about the whole video. Like, hey, listen, if you're going to go in there, you better go in there swinging. Because
and he smiled. Did you see him smile?
Yeah.
Afterwards?
Oh, he's like when they got him finally. But listen, to your point, like I tweeted it last night, and people seem to agree. But like, let it be a hockey fight. Let them beat the hell out of each other until they're on the ground. Then you go break it up. Like everybody say, if you jump in as a crew member, you're suspended for the rest of your life. Like, just let these guys, because that when you see that. Because these guys go into these things knowing somebody's going to break it up.
Yes.
It's like that, what was that, Days of Confused, when they're trying to egg the guy on. Like, if you go in there and punch him one time, they'll break it up before he ever gets to you. That's what these guys are doing. They're going into these fights knowing we're not going to get into a fight. As soon as I touch this guy, they're going to break it up. Like, this Noah, who was it, Hemrick a couple years ago? We got to get him boxing lessons because, Ross clocked him. Then I think Hemrick got a hold of him last year or 2 years ago when the Xfinity deal. Like, but if you're going to go in there, you better go in swinging, because now you just look like an idiot. Like,
he did this. Who's the first guy that Noah punched in the Xfinity race? Is about 4 years ago, 4 years ago.
Burton, was it?
Was it Harrison?
Yeah, remember Harrison?
Oh, Harrison.
What'd Noah do? Swung.
Yeah.
Right away, and that was like it. So
he swung on Hemrick quick too.
Yeah,
he missed.
He swung.
I mean,
he'll throw hands.
It's just, but you got to connect at some point.
Here's the best thing about this whole thing is Ross Chastain is the most talked about person and persona on the racetrack right now. Even when the guy doesn't win, you're talking about him with a Hail Melon, or you're talking about him with whatever. Noah Gragson is one of the most talked about guys off the racetrack. Obviously, last year he had a lot of success in the Xfinity Series, not so much right now in the Cup Series. The only thing that can make this feud and rivalry better is if two things. They actually race around each other a bunch in the future. That's going to be hard given what Noah's got going on in a lame duck situation with Chevrolet and the support they get versus what Ross gets. But the other thing is, why is Josh Wise not set up a camera this morning with a live feed for what it's going to look like when they're working out together all week?
I would say they both do that deal, right? They're both in that Josh Wise deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Netflix.
They should just have like MMA
Where's
classes.
the Netflix show? I mean.
But Noah said in his comments on pit road after he got hit in the jaw that he's going to see him this week and he ain't scared to do something.
Okay. The problem is, I feel like Noah, like I said earlier, I think he plays to the crowd. When you're doing things that are not for yourself, we saw this with, was it Byron at Watkins Glen? Like, completely out of character for him. He went up to try to wreck or run into Kyle Busch. Like, he was getting egged on by the spotter and the crew chief. Like, you better go up there and I think Chad was crew chief. And it's like, you better go up there and handle it. And it's just not out of character for him. So when he went up there to handle it, he ended up knocking the front end off his own car.
Yeah, it looks out of fish out of water.
So it's like when you're doing stuff that's not technically for yourself or how you actually feel, like if you're playing to the crowd of listening to you guys last week saying somebody's got to do something to this guy. Like, you can't go in there and just grab his shirt and think that that's going to be the end of it.
Well, there's obviously something has happened before.
Oh, he wrecked him at Talladega.
Well, I mean,
I think that was not
away from the racetrack.
Not Ross's fault.
Away from the racetrack, something else has happened. So there's already something going on. There's history. So the best part is Noah grabs his uniform. What's Ross do? First thing he does,
grabs his hand,
grabs his right hand, and then when he tells him you better stop, Noah gets a little more aggressive. Bam, that's it. But I will say that
watermelon punch right to the jaw.
Ross did let go. He did let go of his hand when he swung. But I mean, he took away the first move right away. So if you don't go in there,
do you still train with him, like with Josh Wise and stuff? Like, do you see him? During the week and stuff?
I'm surprised, but yeah, still in the Chevrolet program. Surprisingly, yeah.
So you're gonna have to. You'll be around him this week.
Probably, yeah.
What do you think it'll take?
They see each other every day, and I'm not afraid to do stuff beyond the scenes.
What do you think it's going to take to pull this speed?
I don't know, man. We'll see.
Is your hand okay?
I don't think he's in the Chevy program anymore.
I think he's probably out. I don't know.
You think he's uninvited to Josh Wise?
I'll give him credit. Like, at least he didn't just get out of the car and say somebody should beat him up. He went over there and made some kind of an attempt. But you got to make a better attempt next time on the racetrack and off. I know he said something about he respects marks, but you definitely took a swipe at him. Like, so what were you trying to do there? Like, do what Larson did, get in front of him and block. You know, if you see he's run the top and block him. But when you take a swipe at him, miss, and it actually hurt the guy that's chasing him, that doesn't seem very sensible.
Social media after the fact from Ross Chastain was brilliant.
Oh,
PR brilliance.
I've seen some,
PR brilliance. We're a no push policy at Trackhouse and a drama-free day.
Drama-free day, yeah. Another
drama-free day, yeah. PR brilliance. If that's him, that's congrats. If it's his PR team, it may be Jason Schultz for all we know.
That is true.
No, he's not that witty.
He's not that smart. Like,
no. Maybe Jason is the guy who videoed all this stuff.
Don't forget where he parks. You think he came up with that?
I want to see. Yeah, he parks in the VIP parking. I want to see Jason Schultz's video from yesterday. It's got to be epic.
Andrew's
probably seen it.
He was home?
He was home.
Oh, well, we can't give Schultz credit for anything.
All right, then you lose, Jason. Sorry.
What an idiot.
Yep.
You can't miss races. First year full time out there.
Well, it's time for the DBC A-Main, where we chat about what went on and is going on in the dirt world. I'd like to call out all the cool documentaries that are taking place in the dirt world right now. I don't know. Like, I think you alluded to it, Brett. The Last Great American Sport. Outlaws had one that Dirt Vision kind of led on CBS yesterday, which is, major network. That is awesome. So stay tuned for that one. I believe will be on Dirt Vision over the next few days. So stay tuned for that. And talk about Outlaws points right now. I think Brad Sweet's now in the lead.
I have a bone to pick with dirt racing in general. I flew all the way to Indiana last week and didn't see a lap of racing because all the races got rained out.
Yeah.
Well, you're an idiot.
Maybe I should be my own one idiot this week.
I'll tell you who ain't no little boy is that David Gravel. Or Brad Sweet's just that little. I saw a picture of them standing beside of each other.
Brad Sweet's that little.
Yeah.
Because Gravel's pretty small.
He's not very big.
Big cat ain't big.
Big cat ain't big.
He's big on the track.
Well, that's how they normally go. You know, the big guys are all named Tiny, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one thing that Dirt Vision needs is split screen because I switch back and forth between races on there.
Oh, I know it.
All the time. But there's some great racing again over the weekend, man.
Extreme Outlaws, they had a great show where Chase McDermott parked it twice. And then I think this weekend, Outlaws are at Lincoln Speedway and then Williams Grove.
I seen the kid that wrecked bad at the Chili Bowl was driving Tanner's car.
Yeah, almost
Austin,
won. Right?
Ashton Torgerson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I seen he led majority the first night, I think, and that's Tanner Thorson's deal, which obviously is pretty quick stuff. But it's good to see him back in the car. I don't know if he's been racing since Chili Bowl, really, but
He
that was the
has,
first time I've seen his name. But yeah, that was good.
I'll tell you speaking of driving sprint cars, Brett, one place that I don't know if I would run right off the bat would be Eldora.
No.
Not a slicked off Eldora, because that
Herm told me one time he watched Larson go around there like in a wingless sprint car and he said he cringed. He just thought he was watching just like on the edge.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Just watching somebody get ready to hurt themselves.
I mean, Larson wrecked pretty bad at Eldora. He was here. He was there this weekend.
Yeah, him and
With
I think
Zeb.
Zeb. Yeah,
Yep.
Zeb's out with
He's
a
okay.
concussion.
Yeah.
But yeah,
They are crazy,
they are insane.
especially at Eldora.
We go to some of them. Volusia, like if you go watch them go through the corner of
Dude,
Volusia,
you stand next
it's
to the fence
insane.
when a sprint car goes by.
It's insanity.
Yeah, there's nothing like it, especially if you can go in person and see it. If you do have a local dirt track, or you get a chance to go see an outlaw show, or even any local 410 sprint cars, are nuts.
I think the next time they go back to Eldora, they're racing for $1 million, aren't they? It's like early in July, I think it is.
I think
The sprint car million
Wow.
dollars to the winner.
At that place, I've camped there before at Eldora. This is in the 90s, but I'm sure it's grown since then. But great place to go and enjoy a weekend of sprint car racing and dirt racing in general.
I got a jar of Eldora dirt on my
Yeah.
mantle.
I
It's
think
probably
Chad-
it's growing
Chad
some
does
really
too.
weird shit on it right now. I'm not opening that. There'll never be a day in my life that I open that jar because I don't know what
kind of
noxious chemicals are
contaminants
coming out of it.
Well, I
Yeah.
did have a few people tweet asking about things that might be coming up closer to Charlotte Race Week, and dirt racing is one of them. So, of course, Millbridge, 23rd and 24th, the Extreme Outlaws series will be there. I know we'll be out there. Be sure to come by, check it out if you are here for the Charlotte race.
A lot of young up and coming drivers that you'll see in asphalt cars probably in the next 3-4 years are racing in them.
A lot of asphalt guys. Like,
They go back there. Yeah.
I watched the other night. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. Like Ross was running out
Yeah, I
there.
know.
There's a
So,
bunch of them.
A lot of teams, Chevy and Toyota, obviously with Chad's team, they have their development drivers run on dirt as they prep for certain races that are coming up, such as Bristol.
Yeah. As much as we
Richmond.
give Casey a hard time about Millbridge, like if you're in the area, like there's no better
That's almost
no better
like
place
a-
to go on a Tuesday or a Wednesday
No.
night.
Yes.
Like if you go Tuesday night, like we talk about the up and coming stars. If you go Tuesday night, you're going to see all the Cup guys there with their kids. You got Cash Boyer won the other night.
Yep. Yeah,
I think
big
that
win.
was his first win at Millbridge. That's a big deal for them. So congrats to them. But like Owen Larson, Brexton Bush, all them guys are out there running on Tuesday night. And then Wednesday night is a little bit older kids, and it's the Brent Cruz of the world, Cannon McIntosh. They're the guys that are Jesse
who
Love.
just
They're-
won the ARCA race.
They're the
so-
ones kind of dominating the action right now, but
Jesse Love.
Jesse Love. That's a good
What a
name.
great name.
I know.
Sounds like a wrestler. But yeah, but I mean, like I said, if you're in the area, like especially Charlotte weekend, or even like if you're in the area this week or Wilkesboro, it's a cool place to go. Just hang out Tuesday or Wednesday.
That might be
nights.
my stripper name.
Jesse Love.
Jesse Love.
I don't.
Hey, Brett,
We-
thanks for calling the Jesse Love connection.
I mean, we've all got a stripper name we want to have.
I don't think I got a shiver.
I have not thought of
wait. You've thought about this. What stripper name do you
Jesse.
want to have?
Now I want Jesse Love.
Nah, what would you want before Jesse Love?
I thought Damien was a cool name for a long time. Damien Love.
Oh my God! Aren't you supposed to take like the street you grew up on?
You didn't think next on stage Brett was going to be a good one?
No, everybody left. I wouldn't get any dollars. I'd be up there shaking that thing, and they'd be like, "Damn, Brett's a terrible name."
What's this guy clogging in a thong?
But behind Brett, the next on stage is Jesse Love. Everybody's gonna stick around.
And if you're in town for Charlotte Race Week, head to the closest strip club where you'll see Brett.
Brett's at
Brett's on
Leather
stage
and
at
Lace.
Scores
What a
at 11
terrible
p.m. We're gonna go from Scores to Big
The
Ass.
funniest thing is, so Brett never goes to a strip club ever. Like I've tried to take him 1,000 times. But I've probably not
Really?
been 1,000 times.
Didn't
but
you go to Spearmint Rhino at like 4 o'clock?
Well, maybe that year, this year.
Listen, that happens.
But
That's
like,
Vegas.
I've tried
Vegas
to take
doesn't
like
count, right?
Daytona. We always go like at the end of the night because it's open an hour later. And
Well played. Well played.
and but like I've tried to get him to go forever. He don't ever go. And one night we're here in Charlotte. He's like, I'm going to go out to Hot Shots. You stopping? Let's just have one beer. And I'm like, me and you, the term one beer has never applied to us in our lives. So I'm going home because I know what one beer turns into. And I have to drive. I'm staying at my house in Mooresville. It's like 45 minutes away or whatever it is. So that night, I get pictures from Brett at a strip club. I forget which one it even was, with DBC fans just hanging out. And I'm like, thank God I went home, because there's no telling what happens on a Charlotte weekend.
Well, I was staying across from the racetrack. They got a Marriott literally right across from the track. I had to be there late for sponsor stuff. I had to be there early to spot. So I was like, man, I'm just going to crash here instead of driving 50 minutes home, 50 minutes back. So I did. So I walked to Hooters. Well, I meet these DBC fans, and they're from Tennessee. And I'm sure they're listening now. They were begging me to go to the freaking strip club that I actually did go to when I was single and moved to Charlotte. So hell, off I went. Terrible idea. I spent like $500 in that place. That's why I don't go to them places. They want your money.
No kidding.
Well, did you take the $500 in to get it out in there? Because
probably had to get it out in there and pay $50 for that. So I really spent $550. But no, Jesse Love
connection.
Next on stage, Freddie Kraft. See, that don't have a big ring to it like Jesse.
Stick around,
Love.
ladies. Brett's coming up.
I mean, does the look have anything to do with it too? I would say.
What are you trying to say?
Oh my gosh!
There are bigger strippers. Okay.
I had a funny. So
there are people who like bigger strippers.
That was rude.
So I seen somebody. I'm assuming you didn't use it for an XDBC. I saw XDBC. I guess Blaney was not happy with me yesterday. I don't even know why, but I saw the quote and it said, "I'm on my last roll with him." Is that a fat joke? You think? Like,
I think that is.
I mean, what do you mean I'm on my last roll? What the f- is that supposed to mean? Like, I've heard of last nerve, but I mean, what last roll?
This would be a great time to have him on. I know he said that he was going to join.
I don't know. He might not be talking to me. I guess he said he's pissed off at me. I don't know why. I guess he thinks Bubba listens to what I say, which he'll be surprised to hear that's not the fact all the time.
Oh my gosh, man.
Well, don't forget to check out the show on Dirt Vision this Wednesday.
Does Jesse Love sell merchandise?
I think he does.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
I'm sure
He's a really good kid.
At the club or the racetrack?
He's a good kid.
The club.
I'm sure he does.
I want to collaborate on a shirt with Jesse Love.
Yeah.
If you give him the proceeds so he can run more midget races, then
well, I'll give him whatever he wants.
Fuzzy dice in the mirror. Jesse Love on.
Oh, all right. Sorry. That was funny.
Let's move on to Reaction Theater.
Did we not get any calls this week?
We got 6 calls.
Oh, I just see.
I just didn't know.
Gotcha.
At the time when I printed it out.
I'm sitting here watching the truck race, and what in the fuck is Chase Purdy doing during this accident? Last time he came down, did they give him a blindfold to put on? I mean, my God, just come in there and T-bone Christian Eckes. What are you looking at? What's a spotter doing? Why are you coming in that late to an accident and you're still hitting people? Come on, man.
This is what I love about our fans. Like, I mean, legitimately, they're wrecking, and you count to 20, and here he comes.
Dude, so, like, on the restart, we were running in the back. And, like, we're like a couple laps down at this point, so we're just restarting last and just hoping to survive for a little while to get laps back. And he had left pit road late, must have been working on damage or topping off or something. I can't remember. So we're last, and he's 20 truck lengths behind us when we go green. Well, they wreck immediately. It was like start-finish line, they start wrecking. So we check up. I'm like, all right, they're wrecking up top. They're going to start sliding down the hill. Watch them. So we get through there. I said, all right, gas up to get the hell out of here. So we throttle up. Well, talking to the fourth spotter, like, I'm like, what happened? Because like because we were so far back, I got to watch it. Like the 19's coming down. I'm like, oh my God, this 4's going to hit him. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like hit him hard enough to lift him off the ground. And like he was literally, I think, throttling up when he hit him, like just thinking, okay, I'm through the wreck. And the spotter was like, watch them, they're still sliding down the hill. Boom! Like, wow.
I'll tell you what, it wasn't. It wasn't pretty.
It was not pretty. It was not a pretty deal.
That was bad.
Yeah, that was.
And this,
I was actually like commentating it when we made it by, and then I'm like, oh yeah, you're good. Oh, we have a big wreck in the mirror. Oh, I can't believe you did that. Like, it was kind of like,
I'll take it off my what an idiot list because I had the 4 truck on there for wrecking 30 minutes after the wreck started. He already got his shout out for being an idiot.
I mean, like this might be a good time to talk about yours because it almost happened twice.
Yeah, so I mean, this is probably even worse.
Yours was worse.
If we hit, it was gonna hurt. Like it was that bad. It was the 4 times 3 maybe because the 4 was moving a little bit. What do you think he was running?
He was probably running 60, 70
Yeah, I was going to say
hour.
50, 60, something like that. The dude that was going to hit us was doing about 115. and we are wrecked sliding straight down the track. So you know what speed we are going forward? 0. We're coming down the track, and wow, the 22 truck just, I mean, he lifted a little bit in the middle of the corner, and then he lifted enough to turn low, but it's self-cleaning. You see the guy slide down. I mean, you had the whole corner. We were late exit,
and it was he wasn't close to begin with. Like he was probably getting ready to enter one when the 02 spun out middle or the 3/4 mark was wrecked.
Yeah, we start spinning on the entry like right early,
Yeah.
so there's plenty of time to get. It gets even better though because you know who.
I forgot about this.
Your
part.
guy.
Guess who was spotting?
Who?
The guy that you wanted in that one corner at that road course race.
Your turn one.
Oh yeah, the guy who loves to talk.
He might. I don't know if he was talking.
So yeah, my guy almost gets. I mean, completely T-boned. He'd have been sent to the moon, man. Like,
oh, it would have been. And he just missed him. Like they showed it on TV.
Actually,
I think.
it actually clipped him a little bit because he was actually on the damage clock. There was a little bit, and that's part of the wreck if you have damage from it. So. Yeah, that was
Speaking
scary.
of truck spotters, Haley Deegan made a spotter change last week. She went from a Cup Series spotter to a non-Cup Series spotter. So this is where I have problems with the economics of the Truck Series. What costs more money for them, employing a Cup spotter or employing a spotter that's not already there?
Well, it should cost more to employ a Cup spotter, but it costs more to employ a guy that's not already there.
So you're getting, and this isn't about spotter. This is about economics, okay? This isn't about who's a good spotter, who isn't, because I don't know, because I'm not a driver and I don't care. But if I'm a Truck Series spotter like you guys are, and I just watch a team make a move that costs them way more money, and fans are probably sitting at home going, why would it cost more money to have Ford Martin spot versus Andy Houston? Well, the answer is you got to fly Ford there. You got to get Ford a hotel room.
Hard card.
You got to get Ford a license and hard card, and you got to pay Ford per diem. Okay? Those things cost money. I travel a lot. It's about all in $1,200, $1,500 a weekend. All right? So they're going to pay more for this guy to travel than they're paying for y'all to spot. And they still got to pay him to spot.
When Bubba moved to KBM, he wanted me to spot, obviously, and they obviously wanted a Cup guy to do it for that reason, because we sat in a meeting and Rick Wren, who was running KBM at the time, said it's going to cost me $15,000. This was 2013, so I'm sure it's way more now. It's going to cost me $15,000 more to have Freddie spot, just for the fact of what you said, travel, hard cards, all that, versus hiring probably Derek Nealon, who's who they were talking to, I think, at the time. So that was in 2013. So I'm sure it's magnified by God knows how much now. So yeah, but to your point, like, that's the problem. We're not making enough money.
They're spending more money to travel this guy than they're spending to pay him to.
Exactly.
That's why one of the many reasons I quit doing trucks. So speaking of Derek Nealon, you brought him up. He tweeted yesterday after the wreck with Kyle Busch that he was sorry. It was his fault. And I don't know what he said. I don't know what Kyle heard. But I'll give Derek props for going on social media because, dude, I'm going to tell you something, man. Kyle Busch fans, they're crazy. And so for him to go up there and say it was my fault, like, that takes some balls.
It does. It does.
I wouldn't have tweeted that.
No. I mean,
I would have said to Kyle, I f***ed up, my bad. I would have said that to the crew chief. I would have said that to the owner. I had that scenario happen to me last year with Daniel Hemrick. I apologize to everybody. I didn't go on Twitter and go, hey, I sucked today at my job, but I'm going to be better, guys. Like, that takes some balls.
Well, that will never happen for you.
That takes some balls. Well, you just open up a lot of hate, which obviously comes with my Twitter anyway. So,
just no comment.
That's what it took to beat Kyle Larson, was a move on the last lap. And before I hear any of you be like, oh, well, Larson got tied out of 2 and Hamlin ran it, blah, blah, blah. No, Hamlin just simply ran his ass over. But Hamlin knows in his head what he did. And all those fans that were booing at him knows exactly what he did to get that win.
Them fans don't know. I hate to tell you that. They have no idea. You can't sit on the front stretch and see what happened. Without that straight-on shot that Fox produced, you would never know exactly what happened.
This is one of the dumbest things I've heard in a while.
There's really only one reply to this call.
You're a Kyle Larson fan.
Denny's great.
I mean, this guy obviously is a Larson fan, but what happens if the roles are reversed and
that guy's cheering him on?
Exactly.
I think
you
it's
can
funny.
hear it right there.
I think it's funny that he knows what happened because he says, I don't want to hear that Kyle got tired or loose off it too, because that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, so you're telling me he didn't hit the wall first.
I don't want any logic in this. I know what happened.
How about just two guys racing hard? And like I said, if you're Denny Hamlin, I don't care if it's Denny, Brad, Bubba, you're driving off that guy's door. If he hits the wall and comes off a little bit, you're hitting. And that's not on the guy on the inside's fault. He's not planning on you hitting the wall. So don't hit the wall. Great race, though.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I wish they took each other out.
All right, Hendrick fans. Don't want to hear about a dirty finish between two guys going for the lead on the last lap, trying to win the race. When your guy was in the lead and got into the wall before the second place car right behind him ever touched him. Don't want to call that dirty. Don't want to hear you call that dirty. Especially when you have illegal parts a few weeks ago and you get your points back. Especially when you wrecked that same guy last year under caution and you got your points back. Especially when years ago you got a driver in the playoffs that, I don't know, didn't make the playoffs. I don't want to hear your crap about what's dirty and what's not when y'all get away with everything.
These two should have talked to each
That's
other.
what I wouldn't it be. Well, started laughing there. What
we
if
should have
they're-
like a hotline, like they could talk to each other.
Yeah. What if we like called them each on speaker and said, "Hey guys, what if they're neighbors or something?" You know what I mean?
What if
Like-
it's the same guy?
Oh boy, we almost got treated to the greatest show on earth, ladies and gentlemen, where hopefully Ross Chastain was about to get his clock cleaned like Noah Gragson works at Rolex. But yeah, Ross got in a solid shot. Got to give him that. Gold shirt guy got in the middle of it. If I'm Noah Gragson, I'm punching that guy. Looks like we got to wait a little while longer.
I don't think that's.
I wouldn't be a good idea.
Yeah.
That's what Joel tweeted. Joel Edmonds spots for Amarola. He tweeted, well, if I can't punch the guy that punched me, I'm at least going to punch the guy that's holding me back.
I seen some.
There's a solid chance that guy's got a gun.
It was.
I ain't punching nobody that
Very
might have a
solid
gun.
chance. But what,
Security carries guns.
what a perfect block. Like this guy, like Noah's, he winds up for about 15 minutes and then throws it. But like,
Yeah. First of all, let's talk. You see how low he like started down here. The chances Ross had 3 minutes to duck for that one, so I don't even think that was.
I've
gonna
seen
hit.
some people tweeting like, was Trackhouse security that did that because it was such a perfect block.
That was yeah.
You know what Kansas races at Kansas and races at Phoenix have in common? Not a damn thing. Look at how much fun we're having today talking about how great this race was. Imagine if this was the championship race.
Imagine if this was every week, sliding around, racing each other, multiple lead changes,
Tires wearing out.
yeah,
Fighting.
Crazy.
guys sliding all over the place. I mean, it was tough to pass. Like it was hard, but guys were making it work, man, and it was fun.
Hey fellas, what's up? It's Caleb. Sorry I haven't been able to write you guys any songs lately. I'm in med school, so I'm super busy and don't
Damn.
really have much time for anything. But I called up old Noah Gragson after the race, and he helped me write this song. Well, the race at Kansas ended, and I'm feeling pretty mad. I ran up the track, and I hit the wall, and I got a haircut that's bad. So I went down the pit road, looking for the Trackhouse bunch. But they don't serve cold White Claws, they serve watermelon punch. Now I know, from fighting I need to refrain, 'cause my face it is in pain. You don't take a bad bet for a bowl haircut, and you don't mess with Ross Chastain. Everybody said his butt needs kicks, so I thought I'd be the guy. Now I'm walking down the pit road, bowl cut, hung low, trying to hide my black eye. And I know before I fight I need to make a plan, so I don't get punched again. You don't grab a farmer by his fire suit and stay away from the milling man.
That's good.
That's awesome.
He just did something right there that reminded me of something, though. He said the word fighting. And I've come to notice that our good friend, look how Casey's looking at me, our good friend Casey Boat, when she says words, she don't say her T's. Like she doesn't say what? She says Martin.
She just said what?
She says button. She doesn't use the T's that they're in the middle of the words. Last week I was listening to the show and I was like, she doesn't pronounce her T's hard.
Are you implying that I have an accent?
You don't like a
Look
hard
who's
T?
talking.
That guy said fighting, not fighting. And you say Martin, not Martin. Button.
Okay, well, I'll work on that.
No, I just want.
I actually edit all of your T's out. So
damn, that's impressive.
Just sign me up for speech therapy, guys.
Well, it's good to have a song back. We
It
done?
is.
One more.
Oh, one more? Uh-oh.
Well.
I know this guy.
Finally, Tyler.
I heard you guys are missing my rap songs. Careful what you wish for.
Oh, God.
TJ, how you still mad at Mike over that pontoon? I know they say you suck, but I mean, like, come on, dude. I'm not calling you out like I'm looking for fame. I'm just making sure the next time you'll remember my name. And Brad, I guess for this I don't have ammo to throw. I like seeing your tweets, and I don't want that to go. My one gripe that I have, if y'all really want to know, is that I'm still waiting for that flight to be on the show. And Frederick, I bet if you'd been embedded here last week, you would've put a footprint of my name on TJ's ass cheek. I diss you, but you're my twin, so it's like I'm dissing me. Also, Bubba's my dude, so it's best that I delete my lyrics I was gonna put in place of all that. But this brings me down to Casey, yeah, she's the next one on the map. Too pretty to hate on the messy jokes, need to chill, kid. But I ain't gonna listen if I hear another mill bridge. Now you know I'm playing, you know it's all love. I'm DBC for life, no matter what they say above. Just cause I'm recapping races don't mean I don't wanna send you raps. If you aren't hearing them, you got Andrew to blame for that. Not for real, though. I asked if they could send you guys my re-raps, and apparently Andrew said, we don't have time for one more minute of show. So, you know, is what it is.
Send them to me. Just send them to me, Tyler. Thank you.
Thanks, Tyler. I did see your tweet, so I appreciate it. Thanks for the song, man.
Yeah, that was good.
That's really good.
That was awesome.
We need to get back to Tyler opening the show, I think.
I know.
We got Tyler and Blake Shelton. What more could you ask for?
Yeah.
Name a podcast in any podcast with better options to do than that. That's the two best.
We got a lot of variety.
Hey, good job on reaction theater, and that it lends itself to the race, obviously. But you know, it's been lacking a little bit in the last couple months, and it's good to see it come back strong with some songs and some good reactions.
Well, you know the drill. Head to anchor.fm/doorbumperclear. You'll see the message icon. Send us your song. Send us your message. Anything you can rant about for these guys. I mean, especially the TJ comment. That was pretty epic.
Why don't you clean your car up? Edit that out. That's
her car dirty?
Dude, have you not? We're spread out here. When you walk by, look in that thing.
Jesus.
Seriously?
She's going to get mad now. But hey, you started it right there.
She got a baby.
I don't know.
Okay.
A toddler.
That makes it okay?
Toddler? Are we toddler age? When do you go from baby to toddler? Like a year?
I think it's a year.
Oh, she's been a toddler then.
Like at 2, right? 2T. There's not a 1T. So.
Let's move on to Ask DBC.
Casey, you mad at me?
Who are you? Don't forget to use hashtag AskDBC to send us your questions. We had some really good ones this week. This first one is from Joshua McCool.
No way that's his real name.
Do the paint schemes of practically every driver changing throw you off every week? And if they do change a lot, do you study them in practice to make sure you know who is who? And what was the most difficult paint scheme to spot for? TJ.
I don't think you really have an issue. Dale Jr., I got trained a long time ago really well because we changed paint schemes. We had special paint scheme almost every week, it seemed like, so you got used to finding it. I will say that we have some very unique paint schemes that stand out at times. We run that King's Hawaiian car. That thing is...
You're not missing that one.
No, it's so awesome to see out there. Usually, though, when you get a dark-colored car at night, and that can be difficult to find sometimes, especially like a plate race. In the one at Daytona night race, something like that, it can be pretty difficult.
I had this conversation this week with our people. Our Dr. Pepper car looked awesome, I thought. Like seeing it, I was like, this thing looks bad. Did you see how dark my car was?
If it was a night race,
I told him, I said, we can't run this paint scheme at night. Like, you just can't do it. It's too dark. It's not so much like the hardest part about it is, and it was even hard yesterday, especially restarts wise. You know, it's so dark that you're not so much worried about seeing it, but when you look forward, like a lot of our job is scanning ahead of ourselves or behind or looking to see what other people do. So now you've got to have something identifiable to find when you're looking. Like everything happens pretty quick, so you're like looking ahead and then coming back to your car, and you need something identifiable to find, and it's just hard at night. The hardest car I ever spotted for, by far, end all be all. We ran the Daytona July race in the 34 Loves car, and they came up with that gray camo paint scheme, and it was literally gray camo with a black number. And I was like, you guys know what camouflage is meant for, right? It's so that you can't see the thing that it's supposed to be, and that's not going to help my job a lot.
What was it? What about? I got confused when Tyler had the McDonald's paint scheme yesterday, and I was
well, it's like that's not so much. It's fine for us because it's actually reversed. Like theirs is red on top and gray, and ours is gray on top and red on the bottom. But even then, like I know, like Tyler's McDonald's car. I'm not. We don't run McDonald's every week, so it would throw me off. Last year when we switched, it got confusing. When we were the 45 and Ty was the 23. That got a little confusing because then they were running our paint schemes and we, separate numbers. So that got a little confusing, but you figure it out. And Bubba, I mean, me and Bubba bust my chops all the time because I'll get numbers wrong because sometimes the Hendrick cars will have the similar paint scheme, but they'll change whoever it is will go from the 24 to the 9 and you're like, oh, that's the 24, but it's actually the 9 this week. Yesterday, Bubba's like, to watch out, the 7's got a flat and it was a 31, but it was a Celsius car. So you get used to paint schemes, but then the numbers.
I've mixed them up.
That's what I was going to say is the Menards paint scheme, the Celsius paint schemes, there's certain paint schemes that bounce around team to team. That's easily confused. The hardest paint scheme I ever spotted was the Groovy Summer car that Elliott ran for M&M's. And if you look at the picture, if you Google it, you can see it. But if you look at the picture, that's what the car looked like. It had a ton of different colors in it. And then if you actually, when you Google it, you'll see also the actual one we ran in the race. I had them put a bunch of tape on the valence at the time and on the bottom of the side skirt to try to make something pop because these designers – and God bless them, right? But these designers do these things on a computer and they look beautiful.
Yeah.
But once they're a mile away from you at a place like Daytona or a place like Pocono or Michigan, if there's not a dominant color on the car, you don't know which car is yours. You got to have something that pops. And when you look at Colleague Racing, that's why they run neon numbers on all the roofs of the car so you can help the spotter, but also help the guy watching at home or gal watching at home to make that car pop so you know what it is.
That's what, when we were at Petty, it was a godsend because Richard, obviously he's 80-something years old, can't see like he used to, so they had a fluorescent red number on the roof every week to help Richard identify the car on the racetrack, and it obviously helped me out a lot. But yeah, like yesterday the car was black and like dark maroon with black numbers. And I was like, ooh, we rolled out of practice. I was like, that thing is dark. It's like, night race is not an option for this.
When you hear us say we can't see our cars, it doesn't literally mean we can't see them and can't find them. It just takes us longer than normal. We are constantly looking ahead of our drivers and sometimes even behind our drivers. And what we want to be able to do is bring our eyes right back to where we were. And obviously they're going 150 to 200 miles an hour depending on where we're at. Something's got to pop. Something's got to stand out if you're in a pack. And if it doesn't, you're like, panic attack, where'd my car go?
Yeah. You just had a little bit of a Casey moment there because I just said all that.
Did it?
It's fine. I think you were looking up your Groovy Summer paint scheme.
There's 4 paint. We only ran this thing one time. And there's 4 different versions of it. Like that one's got the neon door numbers because we kept modifying it.
Casey moment?
Like Joey Logano 2 weeks ago?
Where you airhead out on
because I was literally looking at Andrew.
And he was looking at his phone. I was looking at my phone. So it's the same exact moment.
But you guys know he was 2 laps down.
This next one is from Dustin
Sup.
Kleba.
Sup.
What's the hot zone when drivers are going down pit road, and does this have to do with the timing segments? He heard multiple spotters call him out during the race.
And I don't understand why they're like what makes them hot zones, but every track has a zone where you could be running the same lights and you run faster in one zone than another zone.
Because you got to think if they're off 2 feet.
Yeah, it's just. I'm assuming it's just the distance to the timing line or the elevation change or something.
That guy is not a robot in there too. He's moving. Them RPMs aren't staying the exact same. He's moving a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like the hot zone, I think is designed to say if you run the same 3 lights, you're going to be closer to speeding in this zone than you are in this one. And I'm assuming it's just difference in timing lines or elevation changes or I don't know what it is, but everywhere we go has at least one. Yesterday had 3 or 4 there was one that was really close. It was section 8, I think it was yesterday, which is right around start finish line. And then there was a couple more like 12 and 13 were close. But everywhere we go, there's just zones that and a lot of times you talk about pit stall selection. A lot of times you'll try to pick in the hot zone knowing that you'll kill it. Like we were in section 8 yesterday knowing that we're going to be coming in or leaving our box in there. That's going to kill that hot zone for us. We don't have to worry about it versus other guys that are pitted at the one end or pit road or the other. They're going to run through that zone. So, pit selection, we talk about getting openings in and out, but also knowing what zones you kind of want to try to avoid on pit road is another big part of it.
How do you find those zones in the first place?
Just like historical data, basically. Okay. I think
you watch Denny where Denny gets busted.
Listen, Kyle
right
is trying to take the crown for pit road speeding penalties.
He's leading.
Denny's chilled out a little bit on it.
Penalties.
Yeah, you just know. Everyone knows where the hot zones are, and
I'm just saying. But he's like, how do you know? Like, so I think it's just. Like go back to the data and
everyone knows how many penalties were in which zone and stuff. So if you go into that track and
you take just like law of averages, like what guys
section 12 has had 8 penalties the last year, probably chill out right there.
Time for What an Idiot.
Oh, you already kind of said yours.
Brett, you've been a little quiet.
Well, my What an Idiot list, I feel like Freddie because I had like all these candidates listed. I had Chevrolet for letting Jimmy Johnson leave. I had Noah for picking a fight that he got his beat in. I had pit road security for being in the middle of the fight only after a punch was thrown. I don't. There's so many out there this week. There's the guy who never lifted, the 4 truck driver. We talked about him. That wasn't pretty. And
listen. So I have 2. One I had locked up on Thursday or Friday night, whatever. Friday night I had that one locked up. Ace Speedway, Cars Tour race. I don't know if you watched it. It was on. It was on TV. So they wrecked. There's a big wreck, right? One guy, it was a hell of a wreck. One guy flips over, right? So the other guy, whose car's actually wrecked a lot worse, jumps out. His car's on fire. He jumps out of his car, runs over, goes in one side of the window to try to grab him, just get him out of there because he's hanging up. The one car ended up on its roof. So one guy goes in, he can't get to him from one side, so he runs around the other side of the car and tries to go in the window over there to try to help the guy out. Well, what happens next? The driver who's upside down, the Top Gun Motorsports, Chase Burrow's pit crew, they run out on the racetrack from the infield. And what do? They drag the guy that's trying to help the guy out of the car and start beating him up.
Wow.
Can you get any stupider than that? Like the guy is literally in there trying to help your guy, and you drag him out and start attacking him. And not only okay, whatever, you can think whatever you want, but if you're going to drag your guy out, why aren't you going in there as opposed to trying to beat this guy up? Like if this is your guy hanging upside down, get in there and help him. Don't worry about whatever this guy's doing. But I think it's funny that this guy is in there trying to help literally, and this other crew comes on the racetrack, which is probably heavily frowned upon, I would assume, running from pit road to the racetrack, and then they drag this guy out that's trying to help and start throwing punches at him. Like, wow, that's borderline Hall of Fame.
See the wreck?
I did not see the wreck.
And it wasn't even like the guy went down there. They got hooked together right before the entry of the corner, and the guy climbed up on the left rear of the car, and then they hit the guy that he climbed up on. His car's destroyed. Like the guy that flipped over had a much easier wreck.
Yeah.
I know that doesn't sound right, but so. And I don't think it was. I didn't see how the contact started. But right when they show it on camera, his car just climbs up there. They go straight into the wall.
Wow.
And I don't know if it's. You should be getting on there, and maybe I do know one thing with the Cars Tour deal. I would hope they start the races a little earlier. That got pretty late.
I thought that was my Friday night. What an idiot! I tweeted that I wasn't going to be beat, and then I was in the elevator, little lobby there. And you're going to find this hard to believe, Brett, knowing this guy as well as you do.
Clint Boyer.
Somebody gave our friend Clint an award.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a very nice, solid base, and it had he was carrying it separately when he got to the roof. It was in a box, whatever the box was. He had a box and a base. And he says, look at this. Look what just happened. And I think it was Toyota gave him like a 10-year deal for being a Toyota dealer out there in Kansas. And they gave him a very nice trophy with a glass I don't know, cylinder, whatever you want to call it, and a solid base, and they handed it to him, and they forgot to tell him that the base was not attached to the glass, and you could imagine what happened next.
Wow, he broke it.
He didn't shatter it. He just took a pretty good chunk of glass out of it.
Wow. I can't make fun of Clint for that because I've tore up so much of his stuff. He had bought this. We were at Lake of the Ozarks years ago, and if you ever see him, ask him about this because he tells it better than I can because I was somewhat intoxicated. But he hands me the remote control to this airplane, and he's got this airplane that you can fly around, and it's a seaplane. You can land it, yeah. And I mean, he's like so proud of this airplane.
I can see this going well.
And he's like, "Do you want to fly it?" And I was like, "No." And he said, "Oh man, fly it for real. Take a shot at it." And I'm like, "No, man, I'm good." He's like, "No, fly it." So I was like, "Okay, I'll fly it." Off goes this little airplane. I get it up in the air. I'm circling around, and he's giving me some advice on how to fly it. Well, I don't know what happened, but I lost control of that airplane. And when it hit the lake, it destroyed it into like 57 pieces. So now I'm like, oh, I got to get a jet ski and go pick this this plane, put it back together. I've littered in the lake. Clint didn't speak to me for a day. Like he was legitimately mad at me for crashing an airplane that I told him I don't want to fly.
Yeah, it's so we did that similar thing. Me and Doug went to the hobby store here in Mooresville. He bought an airplane. Well, we get it all put together, ready to take off. And he's like, "Here, you fly it first. You can drive those quarter scales as good as I can. You fly it." That was a really bad idea. It literally went up. And I mean, I don't even think I got 15 feet in the air. It went right back down. It didn't even. So that was it. No more airplanes.
That was the end of that.
That's probably why you still don't have your boat.
Could be.
My little idiot. I'm sorry. I'll pick one. All you people who say F1's better than NASCAR, you all win. There you go. Globally.
Or pay $90 for a hat.
Wow. I saw Dustin Long's tweet. $90 for a hat.
That's insane.
Somebody said you can buy the same hat online for $30.
I'm sure.
Yeah, probably counterfeit.
What I saw one picture. How many passes do you need to go to an F1 race? I saw one picture. Like I forget who it was. Some celebrity was walking down pit road, but he had 8 lanyards on, and they were all some kind of pass for God knows where. I was like, that must be fun. Like just wearing lanyards all over you. It looked like Mr. T.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like a pretty big deal. I don't think their garage is quite the same as ours.
Who would you rather meet, Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk?
Elon Musk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Casey.
He was there, right?
Yeah, they were both there.
Yeah.
Elon.
Why?
I didn't realize till somebody tweeted this week. So I've been watching that Drive to Survive forever. And that Christian Horner that runs Red Bull. Do you know his wife is the Spice Girl?
Yeah.
I didn't know that till I'm like, she looks familiar. Every time I see her on there, I'm like, oh, she looks familiar.
What an idiot you are.
What an idiot I am. I was like, oh, that's a Spice Girl.
She was like in the original series. Then they did it a long time ago. She's
original.
Jeez.
Moving on to DBC, I am very excited to share that I won. Thank you, Freddie, for giving me this win as I picked Bubba Wallace, who finished 4th.
I thought I was winning that one. Truex was dominant all day, and then he just wasn't.
Moving on to Darlington. Freddie, you go first.
I'll take Tyler Reddick.
Ooh, that's a good one.
TJ.
I was going to take Tyler Reddick.
I really think that I'm going to go with William Byron.
Eric Jones.
I will take Joey. Yep.
First name basis.
Joey.
I can't.
Hey, did you know he came from 2 laps down in Martinsville?
Terrible this year.
Yeah, I heard he finished 2 laps down.
Yeah.
No.
He finished on the lead lap.
He finished second, but he
was
2
2 laps down.
2 laps
Get it
down.
right, okay?
Oh.
What's up, bro?
Well, moving on to Darlington, what are we going to expect on track?
Hopefully some good racing. Listen, like we said on here earlier, tire wear. This place is one of the best for tire wear.
We're going to need a lot of it there because this track is narrow.
Yeah, for sure.
And the line is moved there through 1 and 2 as
what's the weather look like? Anybody look?
Hot. 400 degrees. Hopefully it's. I don't care if it's hot. If the racing's good. One thing that the track has changed with is the exit of turn 2 isn't nearly as sketchy anymore.
Yeah.
Like
you used to almost run 2 different lanes off of 2. Like,
well,
you'd
it used
be
to be
really
if you were
low
2
or
wide
really
off of
high.
2, you were probably going to wreck.
Yeah.
Now it's like you can run 2 wide there because I just remember being like, well, they're 2 wide. They're not. Oh, that was easy. Like lap after lap. So
one of the best racetracks in the world.
Okay.
Fair?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're a little impartial. I don't know. If
it's my home track, so yes, I've been going there since I was 4 years old. So I love Darlington. A lot of throwback paint schemes, a lot of nostalgia around it. I saw our buddy Kevin Hamlin's getting a tribute.
I did.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool to be a spotter and have one of your paint schemes that meant a lot to you be run during the race.
Corelli, I think, was the last one I remember them doing that for. I forget, was that Jones?
That was Eric.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. Because the sponsors, I mean, it's their real estate. Sponsor has to buy into it. Team has to buy into it. I don't know. Have you seen any that you love? Are you running a throwback, TJ?
Yeah, we were running a throwback. I don't know. I like to see them all in person. You want to talk about spotting cars? This is the weekend where you lose your car.
Yeah, or you just don't know who anybody is. Like,
yeah.
I just listen. Like, if you're gonna commit to a throwback, commit to a throwback. Like, you got to go number, font, same. You know, even if you keep your sponsor, it should be in the font of whatever. Like, I should be able to look at that thing and know exactly what it is. And there's a lot of them out there. You look at it and go,
they change them.
What is that?
They mix
like,
them up. It's like their own version of a throwback. It's like, no, I want to see the original, how it is, and that's it.
Yeah. By the way, if you like hot and slick racing, we're going to get some. 93 degrees on Sunday.
I will say spot off for not letting us move our numbers back for throwback because I think that'd be cool.
There was some, I forget, there was a couple, it might even have been yours. Like there was, because obviously the paint schemes back then are designed around the number being in a specific place.
Yeah.
And then you have like the paint scheme last year. So like the numbers forward. So it's like there'd be like a swoop on the door. So the number's now in the center of the swoop instead of like the swoop going around the number. It's like, what are we doing?
Well, it should be, it'll get cooler as the night goes on, but it'll be crazy to start with.
We got any good bracket matchups this week? I didn't see. I know there's a sheet
Chastain versus Suarez. That should be a good one.
Oh, Trackhouse on Trackhouse crime right there.
Hamlin and Larson.
Are you going to can you beat Almirola this week, TJ? I mean, who are you going against that you won?
I didn't even see. Who was I against?
You beat Eric Jones.
Oh,
yeah.
Got his ass. Get some of that.
What's up, huh?
You're going
Hamlin
against Blaney
versus Larson this week.
Wow.
How does that happen?
That's a big one.
I literally just said that.
Did you?
You had a Casey
Bubba
moment.
Blaney.
Bubba Blaine. Oh, well, I'm going to have to block his ass again, I guess. Who else we got here?
Your rolls this week.
Byron and Reddick is a good one.
What? There's nothing better than running a cup race in the state of South Carolina.
Easy.
Don't forget to not speed. And what area?
Mac
B. Me and Brett went through there a couple weeks ago, and I was still looking for the A on the sign. I didn't see it. So,
we almost stopped and had Freddie take his picture by the sign. But I mean, that's the cool part about Darlington. You can go to Myrtle Beach an hour-ish away. You can go to Columbia an hour-ish away. Freddie, you want to go to Columbia this weekend?
I'm a pass. I might stay down there though because we get done racing pretty late Friday night, early Saturday. So I might usually I go back and forth, but probably to stay at least a night or two.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, thank you guys for listening. Shout out to dedicated listener Kelly. Kelly is going to have a rough Mother's Day week coming up. We're thinking about you. We're glad we could bring you some joy. She sent us all a very nice message on how much she loves our show and how it picks her up every week. And we get those a lot from you guys. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why we do this. We love coming on here talking racing, but without you guys, we don't have a podcast. So we love you guys.
I mean, people thank us all the time. I always tell them, no, thank you.
Yeah,
like we
absolutely.
can't do it without you. So we try to make it fun, and we love doing it, and we love that you guys love listening. So thanks.
Happy Mother's Day to all you moms out there this week.
Indeed. Casey, happy Mother's Day.
Celebrate every day.
Brett is the biggest mother I know, so happy
am
mother to him.
The word after
Happy
mother
Mother's Day, Brett.
The word after mother is not a nice one. Oh, boy.
We'll see you guys down there.
Don't forget to check us out on Dirt Vision this Wednesday. Subscribe to our YouTube page and let us know what you think.
We out. Holla.
Word.
See ya.